Hello, my name is Ruth Palacios. For this reflection assignment, I interview Christopher Guerra, who currently work as an assistant child development psychologist and holds a bachelor's degree in psychology from the private University of Northern Peru, Universidad Privada del Norte, and completed in 2023. He currently works at Puericultorio Pérez Araníbar, a shelter that takes in children between the age of 0 and 18 as a result of protective measures ordered by the Ministry of Women and Vulnerable Populations here in Peru. His schedule is quite varied as he may work morning, afternoon, or night shifts. He considers the morning and the night shifts to be quieter, but the afternoon is when there is more work with the children and the adolescents. During these shifts, he is responsible for 4 to 5 children and adolescents whom he accompanies, motivates, talks to, and above all, his goal is like to prevent them from being alone for so long time and hurting themselves and from having like mental breakdowns. Understanding this, his job duties include like providing emotional and daily support to them. To a certain extent, he sees changes in their behavior as many of them come from quite different backgrounds and deal with different issues and often have many internal struggles, but he also helps them develop like skills using methods applicable to everyday life. However, he also has another job on personal basis where he provides private counseling to patients and use other types of methodologies such as testing, for example. Um, what he finds satisfying about being part of this field of psychology is the changes he can see in patients. For example, emotional regulation, the fact that adolescents can acquire new everyday skills helps some old patterns of behavior to no longer be repeated so consistently. And it is satisfying for him to see how these gradually reduce. The behaviors literally disappear sometimes. However, what he finds difficult about working in this field is that they are reactive to some of the help that he is offering. It should be noted that Christopher worked with a vulnerable population, so the reaction of children and adolescents are often defiant of authority and aggressive. They came from backgrounds that have many violence, but he also adds that it is sometimes difficult for him to deal with the different cases he encounters, as some of the children and adolescents have psychiatric diagnosis, which means that they need to build new strategies to be found to manage the negotiations with them. Something Christopher does to acquire new knowledge is to attend training courses for free with the Peruvian College of Psychologists. But sometimes, when he needs more preparation for a particular case, he also seeks out information by himself, absorb it, and put it into practice. The recommendations he gives to me and gives to all are based on vocations for service. Above all, he recommends that we need to enjoy the field, we need to be patient and tolerant, since the improvement where he now works are long term. He does not see patients improve quickly, so he recommends managing frustrations of not seeing results, as there are cases that can challenge our character. In other words, we need to have more emotional intelligence. On the other hand, he recommends a spirit of leadership so that teenagers and adolescents, children can see we are role model. And finally, like he recommends not trying to do everything alone, but rather asking colleagues for support, seeing together we can help much more than doing by ourselves. I found this interview with Christopher interesting. I feel that I learned more about a sector that I wasn't particularly interested in before. I thought a lot about how we or how he handles very vulnerable cases involving legal issues. In that sense, I feel that I learned about the characteristics I need to have to be part of this sector. It encouraged me to learn more about behavior modifications and skills development. On the other hand, it also teaches me that it's not just about information, but also about having soft skills to be able to work together and with emotional intelligence. In that sense, this interview leads me to understand that psychology is not only a branch of helping others, it is part of, but it is not all, but also is an investment of time, emotions, and techniques so that another individual can find balance in their behavior. For example, hearing about Christopher, who often has to stay overnight at the house where he works to accompany the teenagers, he cares for it. It encourages me to see that his career is not just another job, but it's like a way to step outside my comfort zone. It encourages me to not only focus on the branches I like, which is organizational psychology, but also to look at other branches in which I can develop. It even challenged me to work more on my character, to know how to react to the cases, and above all to strange areas in myself that are not yet seeing the reality of the working world. This experience was fascinating as it makes me admire psychologists even more and inspires me to also achieve the goals I have to set for myself. And not remain stuck with, and I already know, but to continue training myself to excel in my career. Thank you.